What's the most extreme case of a person being completely detached from reality that you've ever seen? I was at a bar, and some guy started giving an unsolicited lecture about why all millennials are broke. He blamed us for being lazy students who don't want to work or attend classes. When someone asked him what he does, he said he owns real estate in several apartment buildings. Then someone chimed in, revealing that he doesn't actually own anything. His uncle is the real owner of the properties and appointed him as a manager, paying him to do nothing all day. My friend stole my bank card details and bought herself a bunch of expensive stuff. Before filing a police report, I asked her if she did it because, first, I knew she was going through tough times, and I wanted to give her a chance to do the right thing. Second, I was worried I might be suspected of colluding with her, as it could look like I ordered all those things to her house to claim theft and get compensation. She denied it, I believed her, and filed a police report. Yes, she was arrested. She claimed she didn't think stealing information went that far. She thought you just call the bank, and they refund the money without any investigation. I have an aunt who hasn't worked a single day in her life because her husband started a business when they were young, and they live in a huge mansion. Once, when I was visiting, we talked about fitness, and she said to me, "Oh, yes, we sent Pamela to a specialized fitness center. It only costs $200 a week. You should try it." The fact that $200 was only to her absolutely kills me. I was earning $9.95 an hour at the time. She's a good person but completely out of touch with reality. In college, I had a roommate who grew up in a super privileged neighborhood. We met an exchange student from Switzerland, and I swear, my roommate said, completely seriously, "Wow, I didn't know people actually lived in Switzerland. I thought it was just banks." A regional Starbucks manager canceled performance bonuses, which could reach up to 5%, replacing them with a fixed 2% raise. When she asked if employees were happy with the change, I said, "Actually, no, they've lost motivation since there's no reason to go above and beyond now." The regional manager responded, "You need to make your employees understand that they don't come to work for the money." Seriously? My cousin's parents spoiled and coddled her from childhood through college. Then they just stopped supporting her, throwing her into society with no preparation. She soon got into trouble for passing bad checks all over town. Her mom bailed her out of jail and asked why she was writing invalid checks everywhere. Turns out, my cousin thought that as long as there were blank pages in her checkbook, there was money in her account. She didn't understand that you need to deposit a certain amount of money into the account to spend or withdraw within that limit. Just teach your kids basic finance. This happened around 1996. My sister was used to having everything done for her since childhood. She literally cried when her first car wasn't the color she wanted. She married a rich guy and couldn't understand why I couldn't just take time off work whenever I wanted. She said something like, "I wouldn't ask my boss for permission to take a week off, I'd just tell them." My boss at the time was a 26-year-old woman who received $4 million a year from her mom for fun. Her mom was filthy rich in China. The daughter was trying to become a CEO for kicks. I ended up working at her company. One day, she suggested we all go somewhere together to bond. She took us to an outlet mall 4 hours away. She told the 7 of us employees to meet up later, meaning, "Don't follow me, idiots." Every 2 hours, she'd text the group chat that she was taking her purchases to a huge rented van, suggesting we unload our stuff too. Meanwhile, we were all earning less than $50,000 a year. We had nothing to unload. By noon, she'd filled the entire van with her stuff. Then she asked me where all my purchases were. I said I was trying to save money. She handed me a credit card and said, "Go shopping. All Americans do it," completely serious. By 9 p.m., her purchases took up all the space, and we had to ride back surrounded by her stuff. She spent $30,000, we spent about $70 collectively. We were tired, cold, and bored. I think she still believes she did us a huge favor, but that trip tore us apart, not brought us together. I had a friend who insisted she was in a relationship with a C-list celebrity she met once at Comic-Con. According to her, his Instagram and Twitter posts were dedicated to her and had hidden meanings. When the celebrity got married, she said it was just for the media so they could live a quiet life. When he did nothing for her birthday, she had a nervous breakdown. Soon after, she started seeing a therapist. My husband's sister was kicked out by her boyfriend and stayed with us for a few days. We offered to help her look for affordable apartments or houses near us. She didn't want to live in the crappy part of town near us. She wanted a 3-bedroom house with a garden in the best neighborhood. She had no savings and wasn't even sure if she had a job. She was a supermarket cashier and stopped going to work when the pandemic started. When I said that with her salary, she probably couldn't afford a £500,000 family home, she suggested she just move into social housing, ignoring the fact that there's a huge waiting list for social housing, and most of it is in high-crime areas. My parents' neighbor decided her garden was too small for her sons to play in. The first time she met my parents, she immediately asked, "Could you give me part of your garden so my boys have more space to play?" Thankfully, my parents just said no. For context, they live in a very expensive area where houses cost between £750,000 and £1 million on average. My stepbrother joined a weird Gnostic religious group and decided he should recruit people at work, striking up philosophical conversations. He thought there was nothing wrong with doing this on the job. When he got fired from his temp jobs, he believed it was a conspiracy to suppress enlightenment. Eventually, he got a job as a waiter and, for some unimaginable reason, decided waiters should pray after taking orders. When his manager told him to stop, he lectured them about proper waiter etiquette. He also wanted to propose to a woman over 50 who hadn't shown any signs of liking him. Luckily, he believed in the tradition of asking the father's permission first, and his dad talked him out of it. He also had an idea to join the army to convert them to his faith from within. At one point, he decided he could live off sunlight alone but, thankfully, didn't try it. He's completely against capitalism and wants to live a free life as a wandering pilgrim, not a slave like everyone else. Yet, he believed his relatives could work to fund his noble goals while he criticized them for selling their souls. I once worked at a software development company in downtown Boston, where one perk was a flexible work schedule. Many employees regularly worked from home. After a few years, we got a new CEO. She observed the office for about a month and then announced an all-staff meeting. During the meeting, she declared that she believed an 8-hour, 5-day-a-week schedule was the most productive, so starting next month, no one could work from home. A lively discussion followed. Everyone complained that the notice was too short, begged to keep the flexible schedule, and said it was impossible to rearrange their kids' school schedules and such on such short notice. The CEO listened to all these arguments and ended with a long speech about how she understood that everyone would have to sacrifice a lot to improve the company's performance and that everyone carries their share of the work. She concluded, "I completely understand what's bothering you. Years ago, when our kids were little, my husband and I had to hire 3 nannies to stay with them all the time we were at work. I remember how we all looked at each other, speechless, and at that moment, I knew I needed to start looking for another job." When a CEO with a multi-million-dollar income thinks hiring 3 nannies is a relatable example for her middle-class employees, it's clear she won't change her mind. For years, I worked a shift with a guy who thought everyone was out to offend him. I've never seen someone with such a distorted sense of reality. Often, he'd exchange jokes with someone, go home for the weekend, misinterpret some detail of the conversation, and come back to work on Monday furious at the person who said it. I personally saw him attack 2 people over this. I studied at a private international school in London. Most students were kids of well-off people, but some had obscenely rich parents, like those in the oil industry. In 8th grade, we were talking about upcoming spring break plans, and a classmate from Belgium said they decided last minute to go home but had to drive because they couldn't find plane tickets. A classmate from Russia, the daughter of a billionaire, asked, "Why didn't you just take a private jet?" When we started laughing, she didn't even understand why. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new, super interesting discussions. Become our patron via the link in the description and listen to our episodes in the background without ads or censorship. In the meantime, check out our other videos.